Introduce yourself, Allan.
Okay, I'm Allan Collier. I'm the curator of the exhibition, and I think my motivation for putting this exhibition together was that I think that I had collected myself a sort of a sizable collection, had never really done an exhibition locally, and wanted to make sure that people in my own hometown got a chance to see what I'd been collecting and how important it was in the context of Canadian history. 25 years ago, and I have lent a number of these pieces to exhibitions that have been shown across the country, Design Exchange, Winnipeg Art Gallery, etc. One of my major influences was the Seduced and Abandoned exhibition that I saw in Toronto, and it opened my eyes to Canadian design. So from that point onwards, I was on the lookout for Canadian design pieces, and found them virtually being given away, thrown out, or at thrift shops. So I guess I am interested perhaps a little bit more in BC design, because there wasn't a whole lot of it except for the immediate years after the Second World War. Starting over here, we have furniture that was made after the war using aircraft technology, and a little radio by the well-known BC artist B.C. Binning, whose painting is on the wall as well. I suspect the radio was just a radio that he took apart and built his own case. On this side here, there's some very rare pieces. The first piece here was designed and made at the Canadian Wooden Aircraft Company in Stratford. One of the first molded plywood, commercially available molded plywood furniture in Canada. As you go further along here, there's a chair at the very end. It was designed in Vancouver for the Design for Living exhibition at the Vancouver Art Gallery, and it was the architect designed put the design, made it available through an architect's office, and people could build their own out of plywood that was coming on the market just after the Second World War. There are a number of pieces here that showed up at Canada's first exhibition in Milan in 1954, and the photograph here shows the Canadian exhibition in 1954, and some of the pieces that are in that exhibition are actually represented here at the art gallery. There has been quite a bit of research done on Canadian design, particular furniture, in the last 20 years, and another landmark publication, as far as I was concerned, was a little book on Russell Spanner, and Russell Spanner's furniture was sold across the country, and it always had a particular edge to it that I liked. I liked the splayed legs and the kind of ungainliness of it. And I have to thank again Virginia Wright for showing me the first Russell Spanner pieces, and then Robert Fones, who did a nice little book shortly thereafter, and the exhibit was at the power plant. Some of the first furniture in BC that was winning awards in Canada was done by Peter Cotton, whose work in wrought iron, here, and the lamp, and also by Morrison Bush. BC had not had a traditional furniture industry, so that they were able to use steel rod to quickly get their items into houses across the country.
Allan, tell me about the little table by
The little table here was done by Peter Cotton. It was one of his series of tables that he was doing, side tables that were made out of angle iron that was welded, and Peter Cotton himself actually did the needle point on the top. Another very important designer in Canada was Jan Kuipers, who in the 50s designed for Imperial Furniture. One of his signature pieces is a range of pieces that he did with corrugated wooden fronts, desks, dressers, and bedroom furniture. And he also did a wide range of living room furniture. The chair over here, desk chair, dining chair. As late into the late 50s, furniture became a little bit more European looking, and you see evidence of teak and dark walnut being used. Move away from a little bit more individualistic look of furniture in the early 50s, moving more towards a more corporate, more rational look, although there are some examples of more organic shapes. Chairs done by Luigi Tiengo. and Helmut Krutz in Vancouver, Luigi Tango in Montreal, Helmut Krutz in Vancouver, and a chair that is probably not documented enough, I don't know too much about it, done, called the Expo chair, done around 1967.
My battery's about to run out.
Okay. The exhibition also includes a great deal of craft. At one end of our exhibition we have studio work, working through from the 50s down to the 1970s. We have work by Jean Cartier and others designing for Ceramique de Beauce in Quebec. The studio work and the production work is put together, not separated into studio and production. It's just all one big display. In the late 60s, there was a move towards the use of plastics. So some of the pieces down here represent a new technology that was used in furniture making. Most of the tapestries here have been borrowed from the Confederation Center in Prince Edward Island, which acquired the Expo 67 collection just after the World's Fair in Montreal in 1967. Another thing I'm quite pleased about is the representation of enamelware that was mainly done in Quebec starting in the 40s and became popular elsewhere in the country as well, including Alberta and British Columbia. So these pieces down here were actually at Expo in 1967. The other pieces are a grouping from across the country. This done by Robert Aldrich, who's from Czechoslovakia, and there's some other work from Quebec over here, and some work by a couple from Holland that were in Edmonton. The photograph over here shows the actual installation, showing some of the pieces that are in the exhibition here that were at Expo in 1967. Also decided to include a number of things that day-to-day things that people might become familiar with or have become familiar with. I particularly wanted to include some of these wooden bowls here that are probably among the most ubiquitous pieces that people might find in their kitchen, along with kettles that Canadians seem to become expert at producing for the North American market. The collection also includes some radios, mostly by Northern Electric, and Rogers Majestic, and a landmark piece designed by Henry Finkel for his plastics forming company, and the Contemporary telephone.
Contemporary. And
Several
here.
stereos, the Clairtone stereo, the Mini G3, it's the smallest version of the line of Clairtone stereos.
Yeah, because this comes big.
Yes, it does come big.
Just talk about Morin for a second,
Sure.
if you could.
There are some things that have been, where one personality has been involved in making a number of different items. Andre Morin did stereos in the late 60s. This is a bent plywood stereo painted green. He did it in 3 or 4 different models. At a time when most people were probably buying component stereos. There were a number of firms in Canada producing these kind of niche market stereos for teenagers or for the other side there for executives. Andre Morin also designed plastic. So there's a whole range of plastic kitchen storage containers.
And this is Andre
plates,
Morin.
and Andre Morin, again, producing work through IPL, a plastics company in Quebec. Quite a bit of work here has never been seen before, particularly in the ceramic section. And so I've been able to go after a lot of well-known ceramics artists whose work really hasn't been shown much since they originally showed their work in the 60s.
Yeah. It's quite extensive. What's the main thing you want people to take away from this?
Well, I guess I'm quite a proud Canadian. I may not stand up and sing the anthem, but I really think there's a lot of creativity in Canada that has never been recognized, and I think it would do us all well to have a good look and just see where we've been, and perhaps that we could be doing more of this ourselves and creating a better sense of our country and national identity. done.
That was good.